The vacation kind of continues for our middle school students because the staff is on site getting ready for their kind of in-person and distance learning coming up. We made a conscious decision to use this week to prepare rather than the week before break, just to give our middle schoolers extra time to get work in and kind of keep a normal schedule going for them for a number of days for the quarter. So it is nice to have them back on campus, and we'll welcome sixth graders on Monday, the 19th, and our seventh and eighth graders on Tuesday, the 20th. I want to just say that when we talk about end of year kinds of opportunities, I want to be really clear with all of you that all of the teams are well aware that we have distance learners as well, and we'll be reaching out with either an invite to come into school if we're having something, or an alternative kind of fun activity to do. All right, so we've all been talking about that, making sure that we're not leaving students who are staying home behind out of any of the activities. And in fact, some of the kids, I guess, have already been emailing and asking about that. So I want to be really clear about that. No one is going to be left out or not invited or won't have a fun kind of something to do. Okay. Any questions about that, about middle school?
I feel like I'm a little out of the loop on, is there a day that they're still distance learning like the high school kids are?
Yep. So there's the, that's the segue, Hillary. So one of the things that we've had to change is our asynchronous day. The district picked Wednesday for the asynchronous day for all secondary schools, middle school through high school. We had done Friday and we liked Friday. We thought that worked. Nobody asked us. I know this causes some problems for some families, but we really felt like the right thing to do for Seward families is to align it. So moving forward, the asynchronous day will be Wednesdays from now on. I'm going to do a robocall about this tomorrow, Friday, and again on Sunday. So you'll be hearing from me twice in one weekend. But yeah, and we weren't given a choice. Nobody asked. No, I don't know that even that the district sought any input on that day. But they picked Wednesdays. So like I said, just to align and keep things really clean for families. We have some families who have kids in our elementary program, our middle school program, and a high school program, right? So just to keep things clean and aligned for them, we'll move to Wednesdays, and the teachers will be informing you and the kids as well. Okay. Any questions about that?
Tammy, does that include elementary K-5 kids will move to Wednesdays as well?
Correct. Elementary K-5 will move to Wednesdays as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Like I said, we want to keep it all aligned. So pre-K through eighth grade at Seward, and then our high school kids, it'll be on Wednesdays.
And so I guess then the other question is, will it otherwise be basically what they've been doing, where they just sort of have an attendance, some way of doing attendance?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Any other questions? Thanks, Claire, for monitoring the chat. All right. So when we talk about family, so just this week, Claire and I got probably a 4 to 6 page document about hosting spring activities. And what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And quite honestly, I need this weekend to read through it so I know what the parameters are. We definitely want to do something for our eighth graders, but what that will look like, again, will depend upon parameters and how healthy we stay through the spring. And then any other events that we'd like to do, again, will depend on what the district has laid out. But they have said we can host activities. It would be really nice to do as many outside as possible because we can have more people if we're and stay socially distant. One thing that we are going to do is welcome new to Seward families on May 26th, the evening of May 26th. We've reached out to a Seward family who owns Kabamelet, the food truck, and we'll have them come for just a light snack meal from like 5 to 5:45. We'll do like A through L, and then M through Z from 6 to 6:45, kind of leaving in a 15-minute window to transition parking, those kinds of things, and welcome families in a socially distanced kind of way. And then also, so I'm sending out a postcard to invite them, and then we'll put some other information out that night for them to, so they know when our picnic is in the fall, and open house and those kinds of things. There was one more thing I was going to say about this. Oh, and the other thing is, I'll hopefully that night we can let them know, like, when they can finally get in the building to take a tour and see their new school. That's what everybody, they all want to do that. And I don't blame them. So hopefully by the 26th, we'll have even more information about when that can happen. And even if we run some tours through into June or into July or whatever, we'll figure something out to get them into their new school. All right, so I'm sure we'll be doing some outreach to some of you. Again, we want to be as socially distanced as possible, but I think it's going to be important that we have some representation from PTA and site council to greet these folks and make them feel welcome. The other thing I did reach out to Karen Utter about is with the garden committee, if people are meeting, it might be nice to do some outreach to new to Seward families and see if they're interested in getting involved in that. And so Karen and I, we're going to meet this week, but the weeks got past us. So it will also, we'll have to meet early next week and see what we can do and make some plans about that. Any questions? The other event that we typically host in the spring is kindergarten registration. We have not received any guidance about that from the district. I have been calling around to my colleagues. In fact, I called Megan tonight at Lindale and said, what are you doing for kindergarten registration? So I'm getting information from a number of colleagues, but we will be bringing families in again, probably an outside event, a couple nights, maybe even, just to make sure again that we have opportunity to stay safe and socially distanced. And we'll bring our families in and welcome them, get them up and running with our packet and some information about our school. Again, date to be determined. We're going to have to set something up probably by the end of next week. Yeah, I would see no problem with distance learning kindergartners coming. I think everybody's that hasn't been on campus would love to get in and see things. Any questions?
Do you know how many new families will be coming? Like how large, like how big an event might that be?
So right now, I don't know number of families because I shouldn't say I can't, but I haven't sorted that way. What I have sorted is by student.
Yeah.
And there's 143 students coming in. And lots of them are sibs, right? But I haven't sorted by family, but it's 143 students.
So that includes kindergarten or not yet?
That doesn't. And we'll do two separate events. We won't do it at the same time.
Okay.
I just
so
think
140. But 143 students sort of from first grade through coming into fifth, is that? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think I want to do them separate. I think there's something special about kindergarten registration or kindergartners coming. And the other, some really big, very good news is last Friday, the district called and gave us an additional high five program, which we've been asking for all year and didn't get. And then all of a sudden they called and had some money. And so this program, this class will be a full day class. So we are very, very excited for a number of reasons. Number one, it's nice to offer the half days to some families who need half day or want half day for whatever reason. And then we'll have a full day program. This is also really good for us with the CDD because it really helps us build our base. We're very lucky that the district has said, yep, you can run it Montessori, and yes, you get to keep your kids. That doesn't always happen in High Five. Maybe they'll go to more of that now, I don't know, but it makes a huge difference for us in our program. And any one of our kindergarten teachers can tell you there's a huge difference when our kids have come through Eve's class and had school experience and Montessori experience. So super, super exciting news there. And then other news on the other end is I did submit a request to Eric Moore and Brian Zambrino at the district level and ask them what the process will be for getting in front of the school board to add 6th grade. And I copied Jim and Christian on that. And then I'll get more information out to Carrie and Mary as well. Brian got back to me and said he was going to look into it. I haven't heard back. So I'll be sending another email this weekend because we need to get on that. It'll be important to get in front of them as soon as possible because, you know, once August starts, we're already planning for the 22-23 school year, basically. And so we'll need your help. We'll need parent help to drive this. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get that done. Any questions about that?
Would
Would
school
it be
year
a combined, a combined 4, 5, 6 class? Is that how it works in Montessori, or is it like a standalone 6?
No, it's not a standalone. It's a 4, 5, 6.
What year would you hope to have it start?
The 22-23 school year. That would be the hope. And, you know, and Jessica, back to your question. So, you know, Montessori separated things in 3 grade bands, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12 for developmental reasons. And we really think that, that again, being the oldest, middle, and youngest in a kind of a different plane of development is really valuable and healthy for kids. And that being said, and I say this over and over, so I know I'm repeating myself, but we also know some of our kids are ready for a big middle school experience in 6th grade. And that's okay. And they'll have options, right? They'll have Sandra, they'll have Anderson, they'll have Northeast, right? But we also know some of our kids need an elementary experience and should stay in an elementary program for 6th grade. I just think it's good to have options. And we should definitely be one of them as far as setting up a program with Fidelity. And speaking of that, things are very exciting at Seward. It's like the best birthday ever every day because Ayana and Linda have been ordering brand new Montessori materials and they are finally starting to arrive, and it is seriously crazy. We are like maybe running out of space to put them. So, and they're gorgeous and new and beautiful, and we're really excited. And Ayana's doing an amazing job balancing. So, you know, we want equity across all the classrooms. So established classrooms are getting materials. The newer classrooms are getting materials. It's really great. It's really exciting to see these come in. In all my years in Minneapolis and Montessori schools, I've never, ever seen this kind of money put into a program. So the district, like I said, is definitely putting its money into the magnet programs. I mean, everything we've asked for, they've given us. So really, really excited about that. Any questions? Okay, that brings us to interview and select, because we're having a number of new classrooms. We'll be hiring teachers. We've established interview teams, and we hire teachers first, and then we'll hire associate educators and a new secretary. I don't know if you've heard, Karen's retiring, so we'll be hiring a new secretary as well. So we'll be very, very busy in the upcoming days. We're feeling really good about potential Montessori teachers. Several teachers from Armitage have indicated interest in coming over to Seward, and we've also been recruiting and looking for teachers of color to join us. So I think we're very well situated, and I always like doing these interviews. It's good to get to know other educators and welcome them. So so that's going to be really exciting. It's yeah, it's exciting, but it's also it's a very long day because the teachers teach all day, and then we run interviews in the from like 3 o'clock on. So but still really looking forward to it. Any questions? Okay, so because we are hiring so many new teachers to Seward, we are going to postpone classifying students just this year. You know, usually we do a classification this spring and we put a classroom and a teacher on the report card so people know. And I truly believe there's value in that, and we will go back to that next year. But I just think in order for there to be equity and all voices represented and I want all of the teachers in the same space at the same time, welcoming and creating classrooms. And yes, this means your student might not have the same teacher. They may have the same teacher. We know that there are some relationships built and some needs that need to be met through certain relationships with teachers. But I think that this year has taught us more than anything. I mean, a number of things, but one of the things is just kind of all of us wrapping our arms around our kids through a number of transitions, right? And I can tell you, when the teachers and I talked about this, you know, of course they were like, ooh, I really love my kids, really want to keep my kid, right? Because I think I've told you before, you know, we get to the point where we're family. And then, you know, when we talked a little bit more about the fairness and having everybody together and talking and learning about our kids and our new kids coming in, right? Teachers talked more and more about, well, yeah, we did that this year. You know, I learned a whole bunch of new kids. I got to know a bunch of new families. You know, I really think this will work. So I think that's the right thing to do. And then we'll get more information after we do interview and select and see when we get new teachers on board, when that can possibly take place and how soon we can get classroom assignments out to you. Questions?
Tammy, I'm a little confused by that. So my first grader in E1 would not necessarily have the same teacher next year?
Correct.
I'm concerned about that. I have a kid right now struggling this week because her teacher distance learning. She went back to school and I'm concerned about it. She's having a difficult week.
Yeah. Yes. I totally understand. And I'm not saying that your child wouldn't have the same teacher. I'm just saying there's a possibility, and I have to be honest about that because we have to welcome 143 new students. And, you know, I can't just say, okay, all the Armitage teachers get all the new kids, right? I mean, there's got to be some mixing and some blending. And so everybody is feeling like part of Seward. And like I said, I know there are some exceptions, and I know that this year has been really hard with all the transitions. It's heartbreaking in some ways. And then, like I said, it's been very rewarding in others. So, and I would also say we have always is a strong word, worked really hard to welcome kids and make them feel comfortable and give them a sense of community. And with all that's been going on in the world, it's, you know, even more important. And I've talked about this before, even bringing our kids back in February, how I think we tried very hard and were pretty successful about taking it really slow, making kids feel welcome, knowing that they needed to feel really comfortable, that they hadn't been around people for a while. Yeah, we take it really seriously, but I have to be honest about, I have to tell you, right? Like, I have to tell the truth. Like, it's important that we take a look, and it is different. And like I said, I got pushback from the teachers as well, which I would expect, and I would expect pushback from parents. But I hope that you'll trust that we'll do the right thing by your kid. And yeah, and next year, really, like, if we get to come back full on in September, on September 8th, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone. Doesn't matter if you're at Seward or somewhere else, we're going to be starting from scratch, basically, given the year that we've had.
Thanks, Tammy. I appreciate that.
Tammy, can you go over just what teachers we're hiring for again, just to kind of give people a
Yes.
perspective of how many new folks we are getting?
So with our high five, get to hire a new high five teacher, 1 children's house teacher, 4 E1 teachers for 2nd and 3rd grade teachers, 3 E2 teachers for 4th and 5th grade. And then we're hiring up 2 special education teachers for our new special education programming. And along with that comes a 0.4 social work position. It's 0.4, right, Claire? A 0.4 social worker. Those are the positions we have out posted. Oh, and a 0.5 literacy coordinator that's posted as well.
Is that different than Julie, who's there now?
Yeah, well, you know what? Julie is leaving us. She and her husband are going to move. I know, don't even, like, that's just hard. Julie's really good stuff. We've been super, super fortunate. Look at Claire. Yeah, Julie's great. And you know, we just wish her the best. They're moving out of state, so there's not much we can do. That being said, the district pays for part of a 0.5 position, so we've already found someone that's going to be very, very excellent and wonderful as well. And so we'll get that news out to you once, like, all the hiring is done. Yeah, thanks, Erin. We might need sustenance. It's a lot. But like I said, you know, the good news is a lot of these teachers are experienced teachers from Armitage, right? And experienced teachers from the district, to be honest with you. It's not looking like a lot of brand new. Look at the kids. So cute. Yeah, so thank you for offering.
Are those all expansion, like those are all new positions at Seward versus people leaving, except for the literacy one? Or
yeah, I think we have a couple of changes, but I can't reveal them yet because I've got to talk to the teachers.
Yeah,
but we're going to be fine. Yeah, it's going to be great. Anything else about staff? All right. So we at Seward, we've been working on and talking about a lot of social justice issues and anti-bias, anti-racist activism, so to speak. You know, with the recent killing of Dante Wright and the Chauvin trial going on, it's in the forefront of everyone's minds, right? And we know our kids are hearing about it on the news and talking about it. So I want you to know the teachers are doing their very, very best to be available to give kids space to either talk about it or not talk about it. But we had a really great meeting this afternoon where we, Jessie, one of our AEs, and Claire and our Shark Squad team, we broke into small groups and, first just talked about like how we are reacting and behavior in our school in general, but then how do we help our kids, right? What are some resources? How are we honest with them and not scaring them, right? When they come to us with questions. And I think, I've said this before too, like at Seward, we're in a unique position where we have 4-year-olds to like 14 and almost 15-year-olds. So our kids are at every different developmental stage. And I feel really blessed that we have so many teachers who are willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to be out there and supporting our kids in this work, because it's not easy, right? Several teachers just this week read something happen in our town, and they've been doing follow-up activities with the kids. And then Lisa and many of our E2 classrooms have been doing lots of activities on social justice throughout the school year. And Lisa emailed Claire and I tonight and asked that, a lot of the high school kids are kind of doing a walkout on Monday, and asked if we could do something, not necessarily a walkout, but I think some of you remember when we did our little peaceful protest around Seward. I'm trying to remember who remembers what that issue was, because the kids were all going to walk out and we were like, well, let's do our own kind of thing.
Yeah, it was after the Parkland shooting in Florida.
Thank you.
And so we did a big lap around Matthews Park. So we let them, they made signs, they protested, they, made their voices heard. And then given their ages, because we didn't want to just turn them loose on the streets, we walked them back into the building.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about doing that again on Monday with E2 students and our 6th graders. And there'll be an opt-out, not everybody has to do it. But I do love this about Seward, that I think that we're really good about letting kids have their voice. And if they want to protest, here's a way to do it in a way that is peaceful and also kind of complies within like a school day, school boundary kind of thing. I think it's just the beginning of teaching them activism. And I'd have to say, over the years, our middle school kids have been really good about this when issues have come up. Sometimes they've done sit-ins, or they've just come up with ways to voice what their feelings are at this young age, right? So that's kind of, we're doing the very best we can. Like I said, if your kids are coming home anxious or worried or upset about any of this, about the shootings, about the trial, please network with us. Let us know. Reach out to Sarah or Kaiser or me or Claire or Leanne. We want to make sure we're supporting our kids. Claire, did I miss anything? Would you add anything?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, Mr. Greer, I agree, right? Like it's a balance that we do. And I think, especially for little kids, Mr. Greer, like I said, we have 4- and 5-year-olds. And I think, we want them to stay focused, but we also want them to feel like if they have something to say, even at 4 or 5, that we're here for them. And, yeah, it's a fine line, right? Because we know that kids are hearing about this and seeing it on TV, basically on loop on some stations. And they do overhear all of us talking at some point in time, right? So I think we're trying to strike a really healthy balance of like having space, and if they have real questions, like at 5, that we're there for them, but without, you know, we said that today too. We're not going to say every single day and every hour, well, how are you feeling about this? I mean, that's not the, how are you feeling about the Derek Chauvin trial? We're not doing that. But we are going to be ready, and depending upon, again, class, grade, what's going on, to either pose questions. Go ahead.
I'll just add too, like one thing we talked about today in our staff meeting was like not acknowledging what is going on actually does more harm. Research has shown does more harm. So really making sure that we're creating this space and not necessarily having full-blown conversations depending on grade level and age, but making sure that we're at least acknowledging it and creating this space for students to talk about it, specifically for our BIPOC students.
Erin, good question. Yes. Yes, we put out a bunch of resources. Jesse offered to role play with teachers, like how to have conversation or bring things up, or if, what about this? What about that? So yeah, we're getting ready. We should be ready. Any other questions? Okay, Claire, am I missing anything for updates at school?
No, I think we're in a good place.
Okay.
Questions.
Do any of you have any questions? Oh, here I can do a COVID update. I think the protocols are going very well. Part of my robocall tomorrow and Sunday is going to be about making sure all the kids have masks. With middle school coming back and us adding kids, it's going to be even more important. And I'm going to be pretty firm about, you're going to get a warning and then got to get the mask and then done. I think we're going to, or go back to distance learning or whatever. I mean, we'll be flexible given different situations, but we know that the masks keep us healthy and we want to continue to stay healthy and make sure all of our kids are coming to school every day. So that is a number one priority. And like I said, all the other protocols seem to be going really well, except I would say it is really challenging to keep kids 3 feet apart. I tell everybody, I mean, it's just the truth. It's really hard. And we're doing our best. And there are other things I'm proud of. So most kids are wearing their masks. I mean, we just have a few that are like, need some reminders, right? But I would also say hand washing and sanitizing is way up, right? I see kids standing, washing their hands for a really long time, just like they should. So that just continues to be a really good habit. That's just a good lifetime habit. So those kinds of things are going really well. Any questions?
Could you just talk a little bit about what how lunch has been going and how that will look like for middle school students when they get added into the mix? Are they going to have their own separate lunch hour or multiple times to space them out, or what's that going to look like?
Claire, you want to talk about middle school lunch?
Yeah. Do you want me to just give a brief middle school overview? Just
great.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So I put in the chat above, and I can put it in there again, but I put an example what our schedule is going to look like. Students will arrive, buses, they'll come indoor, we call it door 6.5. So they will not be really interacting. We'll try to keep limited interaction with elementary students. So from the buses, they'll come in door 6.5, go straight up to middle school. They'll grab their lunch or their breakfast if they are eating breakfast, and have breakfast in advisory. We'll make sure that all students are 3 feet apart for that. Students that are dropped off will come in the main door and use the main stairwell for middle school. Then they'll go through their classes. We're doing a traditional 6-hour day. We've left more room for passing. So you'll see that we have about 5 minutes of passing time so that we can spread it out a little bit more. So we don't have as many students during passing, although we only have about 160 students. total. And then lunch, so they'll come out of their 4th hour. They will get their lunch and go back to their advisory room. We're actually making an option. Ramadan is happening right now, so we will have people outside. So if students are not eating, they can go directly outside and do not have to be in their advisory lunch with students that are unmasked. And that's an option for anyone. That's if they're ready and they're done early, they are welcome to go out as soon as they're done with lunch. And then they'll have recess until about 12:10. And then we have 5th hour, 6th hour, end of the day, they'll leave. The kids that are taking buses will leave out of door 6.5 straight down. And then they will do parent pickup like the rest. We still want them to go into parent pickup with the other kids. And then what am I forgetting? I think that covers a lot of it. Yeah. I think that's it.
Thank you,
for the
Claire.
most part.
Any questions about that? Okay. Katie, you had a question about any student COVID cases. Yes, but they've all happened like on long weekends or when, so no one's been exposed. So, but parents have reported. So, according to Andrea, our school nurse, parents have been really, really good. If we've had to call home and say, oh, COVID symptoms, whatever, they're testing their kids, they're calling us. Nope, it was a cold, whatever. So we feel really, really fortunate and very informed about what's going on. So, so far, every day that we get through, I feel is almost a miracle, to be honest, right? Because you just never know, like even given like following all the protocols, anything can happen. But yeah, Andrea and Greta are knocking it out of the park for us. So yeah, like I said, feeling really lucky. And Katie, it just hasn't been that many cases, right, Claire? Like, yeah, minimal. Any other questions? Yeah, so Mr. Greer, it's hard to tell between a cold and COVID because some of the symptoms are the same. And so Andrea would just call and say, here are the symptoms, and she'd give you a recommendation based on the decision tree. And it's up to parents whether they want to go in and have their child tested or not. It would just depend upon the symptoms, because you're right, like lots of kids have cold and it's allergy season, right? So there's a lot going on, but I really do trust Andrea and Greta to give parents the best recommendation. Yeah, thanks, Hillary, testing your family. Yeah, and and the staff can be, we do tests every other week at Seward, so we feel really lucky about having that opportunity to make sure that everyone's safe and healthy too. Anything else? All right, thanks. Christian, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, happy to. Okay, guys. I get to look at my pretty face for a little bit. So there's a big transition happening at Seward, as many of you know, and Tammy is leaving us. And well-deserved, Tammy, and we can't thank you enough. What is on our shoulders now is to find a suitable replacement. Not even suitable, they're pretty big shoes. So the site council has started a process with the district to build a selection committee for the new principal at Seward Montessori. And the way that and many of you were able to come to the meeting, the site council meeting a week and a half ago, where Brian Zambrino, our associate superintendent, came in and he spoke a little bit about the process. And basically what the whole process entails is that the district has a pool of candidates. They are looking at that pool. These are people that have self-selected as individuals that want to be principals. They may already be in the district. They may not be in the district, but they want to be principals here in this district. Brian and a couple of others, colleagues, are looking at that pool, looking at some of the initial, a survey had gone out to parents a couple weeks ago, and they're looking at some of the initial feedback from that survey to help whittle down that pool. At the same time, what Site Council is doing right now is trying to put together a selection committee. So we have, Site Council, when we met a week and a half ago, came up with criteria, and that criteria really looks at who is going to be on this selection committee. And that selection committee needs to consist of 8 to 10 total members, 4 to 5 school faculty or staff, and then 4 to 5 student families. And we're looking at families of current students, incoming students, potentially a faculty member across grade levels, grade levels, current staff, current non-teaching staff, specialists, and then we're also looking at individuals able to navigate and translate both the professional and the parenting perspectives of principal position. And then we do need 1 Site Council member, and then we do need 1 current instructional leader, somebody from the instructional leadership team. So those are the preferred representation. We've already started to, you will all start to receive, hopefully in the next week, a note from the district, a note from us, basically asking you to participate, find out who wants to be there, who is willing to be on this committee, because it's not just an easy time commitment. It is everything from 2, right now we're hoping to have a couple 1-hour meetings where the selection committee can work on criteria development. The district comes with its own planned questions for the interviews, which there could be 2 or 3. I believe, actually, I'm not entirely sure. We don't know how many we're going to be presented with. But the same questions from the district will be asked of each, and then the selection committee needs to make 2 to 3 more questions, very much based site specifically on Seward Montessori. So there will be a couple days of preparations and talking to one another to figure out how to basically how to make a decision, and then there will be a couple 4 to 5 hour days where the selection committee is actually interviewing the candidates. At this point in time, we were hoping to still have, we're hoping to have the selection committee and the criteria development. We're hoping to have it done by the end of April. I think it's pushing to the beginning of May now. And one of the reasons is that Jim and Tammy were able to talk about how to best make this as equitable as possible. And a lot of our Somali, Ethiopian, Oromo families, we want to make sure that we want to make sure that as many of our families are involved as possible. And that not only means as part of the selection committee, but also as part of the feedback. So you're going to be receiving an email from us shortly. We're asking for more feedback. We want to make sure everybody has a chance to have their voice heard in terms of the skills, in terms of the background, and what they're hoping from in terms of a principal. So you're going to be receiving something from us or something from Site Council shortly, asking for more feedback, and then also asking on if you're willing to participate as a selection committee member.
Christian,
So,
I think that email did go out already.
great.
2 days ago, I think I filled out a survey.
Perfect.
Did anybody else? Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. Sometimes I feel like, sometimes this morning I woke up and I thought it was Monday. So, I mean, like, Please don't hold it against me. So anyway, are there any initial questions?
I don't think I got that email. Do you know, can anybody say where, if it came from the school or Tammy or Karen?
It came, I think, from Tammy, but like from Jim via Tammy. Does that?
Correct. Yep. And there was an email and a robocall. I thought there was a rate, maybe not a robo, but for sure an email. For sure an email.
I'll follow up with Jim on that too, just to see.
And we can hit resend too. So
Okay.
Let us know.
I will say we are still only getting, it's like there's no rhyme or reason to what emails get through and which robocalls get through. And like John gets different robocalls than I do. Like I got 2 today and he got a different one yesterday. So like I don't think you're gonna, my point is I don't think you're gonna like offend anyone by sending it twice, because I assume that we're not the only family who is only like receiving, you know, spotty communications. We've like, we can see for like on the website from the district. So I don't think we're missing anything, but like what comes to us directly seems really like off still.
Okay.
So this email may have gone to junk. It did come from Jim Moore, site council chair, and it came to School Messenger. So if you sign into School Messenger, you should be able to see it on Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say too that after 10 years in the district, I finally started using the School Messenger app this year, and it makes all the difference in terms of then you can see everything that you have been sent in all the different ways, whether it was a robocall or an email or everything. It's all in the Messenger app.
You know what I'm wondering, would it be helpful if we also posted these letters like on our PTA website and on our parent page so people could see them?
Yep.
Okay.
Christian, I really appreciate the equity piece that's going into this too, and reaching out to families again. I hope that the search committee that we get is also shows the same equity too.
In fact, thank you, Angel. And in fact, that was something that Jim really pushed for right away, and I was wholeheartedly on board. And I know that Jim and Tammy have had conversations about reaching out to 2 specific families, and I know that we've actually found a couple individuals. I know Nabia Muhammad, and there were a couple others that were more than welcome to participate on the selection committee. So we are making sure that that will happen. Yes.
We're also reaching out to new to Seward families as well.
Oh yeah.
Just a couple that have been in contact with me that I have contact information for. So I'm reaching out to them to make sure we have representation from them as well.
Right. Yeah. Particularly if there's anybody from that was at Armitage that's now coming to Seward, we want to make sure that we have somebody new. We'd like to make sure that as best as possible we have somebody new on the selection committee as well. So. I know that, so, and we had a conversation, so Jim and I had a conversation with Claire as well. And as we move forward, I can't give you a definitive timeline. Ultimately, we're hoping to make sure the selection committee is hiring, or the district is hiring a principal by the end of this school year. And we want to make sure that it's the right principal. I mean, like, I don't necessarily, and Claire can speak to this too. We want to make sure that we have somebody who has Montessori experience. We want to make sure that somebody, whomever is coming on, is just the right fit for us. And being a magnet school, I think that we have a little bit more. I shouldn't say this out loud. We just want to make sure that it's the right fit. So we're going to be diligent, and like I said, we want your feedback, and we're gonna we're going to make sure we get the right hire. So we're going to make sure that we get the right person to keep the school running like Tammy has. So yeah. Are there any other questions?
I'm just confused if the people in the pool don't necessarily have Montessori experience, but we're using the pool. It feels like a little bit of a catch-22.
We don't really have any choice in terms of that. That's a district thing. And when they provide us our first round of interviews, if we find that we're not happy with them, then we do the process over again. And I understand that there's only so many times we can do interviews to find the right candidate. And as I mentioned, we're going to try really hard to make sure all the needs are met for the principal of the school. So our parent needs.
Yeah, and let me I can speak to that a little bit. Joan Frank's the principal at Armitage. She's been there for 20 years and had no Montessori background at all. And if you saw in the chat, Claire talked about a Montessori admin program, and she took that and got on board, right, and learned more about it, and it worked out beautifully over there. So it would be nice. I think not only nice, I think it's a thing we should definitely be looking for, but it's not a deal breaker, right? So I just want to be honest about that. A good fit, I think when you say that, I think that's the most important thing. And then we can get the Montessori going from there.
Claire, do you get to be part of the selection too, since you have to be the person who works closest with whoever gets hired? Good.
Yeah, I am. Christian
Good.
and we just met the other day, so I will be.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah. And if not,
I want to just say two things, to end on a celebratory note, right? So first of all, I want to thank Carrie Cashman and the Read Around team for organizing the reading the story nights. Loved it. I want to keep doing it. We might need to keep doing it. I loved every minute of that. I heard the other nights were a huge success. I think we want to bring Andrea back for an encore presentation. We want to, and I think we do have some things planned around some more stories, and then also translated into Somali for our kids. So thank you to all of you who were involved in that. I'm serious, it was so much fun. And then lastly, this week is Assistant Principal Appreciation Week. So we're showing love for Claire this week. I told the staff today, wow, what a year to be a first year assistant principal, right? The learning that's taking place is absolutely incredible. And, and as you saw in the chat, it'd be great if Claire was considering becoming a principal right away, but she wants a little more time. She's having a baby, so that's exciting. And she's just been an amazing partner. She stepped right up and right in. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, the middle school schedule, the distance learning schedule, bring kids back. I've leaned heavily on her. She's been great. And I feel like we're really, really super lucky to have her. And she's learning a lot. And here's the thing, we know from Megan, right, that we grow good principals. So she'll stick with us and learn a lot and become an amazing principal someday. But right now she's just a really amazing assistant principal. Lucky to have her.
Thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. So
I
good to
just
see
wanted,
everyone.
I just wanted to mention something that was getting discussed on the Facebook page. There was someone who asked about before school care, that there's a list that was sent out that shows that Matthews Park isn't offering it, but I forget, was it Angel who
They are
called
now.
the park? It turns out they are offering it, and hopefully they have now updated their website, but all the parents got emails they may have gotten this misinformation that Matthews wasn't an offering before school care. So I just wanted to make sure that people know that it is. It sounds like they are for sure offering it.
Yeah, I've been meeting with
yeah.
Scott this whole time. I've been talking to them about it.
Yeah, I think it was clearly just sort of like you know, a mistake that they showed Matthews as only having after school care. So
okay, well, the good news is we caught it. I mean, it's kind of late, but still a little early, right?
Yeah, no, it's good that somebody asked, and then it brought it to the attention of people, and so then people reached out and they were like, oh, we'll correct that. So always good to ask. Be the squeaky wheel.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. Anything else? All right.
I just had one other question. I'm sorry. How many kids are riding the bus right now? I was just
Not a lot.
not a lot. Yeah, that's what I figured. We were just someone.
Hillary, you should see our pickup line.
The pickup line is insane, right? Well, we haven't been there yet. It starts next week. My kid's riding
Bring
a bike.
Bring a book, have a podcast.
I will mention that maybe we need to do a big promotion around that the zapper is going to be zapping. And so especially those middle schoolers, let's get them riding their bikes and other kids too, and shorten
Tammy,
that line.
Since there's going to be more kids coming back to school in your robocalls, could you maybe do a best practices for pickup? What have we learned so far?
Yes.
Because I think it's getting warmer and people are like, oh, I'll go park and just grab my kids. And it's harder to leave the parking lot if people are walking through the parking lot.
Yeah, here's my robocall list right here. Okay, you got it. Great idea. Okay.
And thank you for everybody who's making pickup go so smoothly. I'm sure it is a huge effort on your guys' part.
It's huge.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah.
Number 69.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
Can I give a little update, Tammy?
Yeah.
To bounce off of what Tammy was just saying about Read Around, I wanted to thank everyone here for encouraging their children to read in March. I hope that many of you were able to join one of the weekly story times. And Tammy was mentioning, and we heard from Carrie Cashman too the other day, that you guys hope that we'll continue that through the rest of the year. So I'm excited to hear more. I just wanted to note that there's still time to get your minutes record sheets into teachers. I believe tomorrow, we kind of set a deadline for tomorrow. Children can turn them in by the end of the week. And what's really fun is that in terms of prizes for kids, we received a bunch of really great support from the community this year for the Read Around. And if you guys know anybody that works at the following organizations, please thank them from Articulture, Corazon, Devani's Pizza, Fresh Time, Garlock French Roofing, Seward Co-op, United Noodles, and then Wellnut 2 Hardware. They all contributed, and it was great to see such wonderful community support. A couple things that I wanted everybody to be aware of is that beyond Tammy, there's a lot of change happening in Seward over the next 5 months. Not only is there the outgoing class of the 8th graders, there's the outgoing class of the 5th, 6th, and 7th graders as well. Middle school teachers are leaving that have been working so diligently for us. And then not only Tammy is retiring, but also Karen Kometz. And then we just heard that Mary Dellender will be retiring at the end of this year as well. She was the past family liaison. And we need to celebrate them. And remind them that they'll always be part of the Seward Montessori community. We have a new principal coming in, hopefully selected before the end of the year, and we need to welcome that person into our school. And then we have the new student orientation, or the new student gathering on May 26th. We're going to have kindergarten gathering also, and then we're going to have a bunch of school open houses in some form or fashion. Again, all of this is very some form or fashion because of what's going on. And there's a chance that we're going to need some help with this. And we aren't sure what all this looks like. It may be some in-person, socially distant gatherings. I don't know, beyond what is being planned by the school as well. So we're always looking for PTA and site council. Here's the pitch. I'm getting to it. In general, PTA and site council are always looking for members of our school, current, new, to help build our school's community and enhance our school's curriculum. So given all this change, next year will be an exciting year. We'll be able to help the new principal shape the future of our school. Please reach out to me if you'd like to help with any of these projects, whether it's the events at the end here, events at the beginning of the school. Please reach out to me personally if you'd like to be part of the selection committee. We're always looking for help, and we always want our families to be more involved with their child's education and with the school itself. So please, I'll put it, yes, Mr. Greer, I'll put it in the chat right now so everybody has it. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks for all that you do. So, yeah.
All right, thanks, everyone. All right. And all right, everyone have a good night. All right, take care, be well. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Claire.
Everyone.
Say bye.
Bye.
Night,
They
Erin.
really been wanting to say bye to you. Say hi to you, Tammy.
Thank you. Bye. Tammy, I missed it, the announcement last month. I just wanted to say I was just like, oh, Tammy's leaving. And just how grateful we are that our time at Seward perfectly overlapped with yours. I can't imagine Seward without you, but I know they'll find somebody great.
They will. They're the school is well situated, great foundation. It's going to be great. Yeah,
Well,
thanks, Marie. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. You've done a lot to help Seward. Like, I'm just always so proud of parents for making big differences and leaving Seward better than they found it, right? So you're one of them.
It takes a principal who cultivates that sort of a relationship with the parent community, and you've really done that. So thank you for all you've done for Seward.
You're welcome. Thanks.
See you soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. On your bike, Hillary. Ride.
Yeah, I'll be on the bike. I'm not getting in that line unless it's pouring rain.
That's right. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, Christian.
Yep.
Well done. It's a lot. That's a lot of information to share.
That is.
Yeah. Good job.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Have a good night, everyone.
You guys too.
Bye.
I'm going to turn this off for everybody.
Okay.